How's it going, everyone? My name's Zera. Welcome back to another video. I'm just gonna do like a general rant about like the state of the Pokemon community, because we're in like a little tough spot as the community, to a point where it's kind of like it's disgusting to call yourself a member of the community. Like you have to, even though you play the games and stuff, you have to say that you're not a part of the community. I don't really have this scripted. I just felt like I should say something about it, because it's been a few days since the Diamond and Pearl, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus game, since they were announced, and it didn't even take 24 hours before I got into like 3 different debates about the games. So it seems the Pokemon community is far from a lack of controversy, and I don't think it ever will be free from controversy, because I've been looking back at things from like 2013 when X and Y were released, or revealed even, and they showed off Megas. People were still complaining about Megas like people complain about Dynamax. It just takes getting used to. People, when Gen 5 came out, they hated it because it was different from what they knew. They couldn't use the Pokemon that they loved before in the game, in the story, because they were cut out. Well, they weren't cut out, they were in the game, but it was like a soft reboot. They put new Pokemon in so that you could use those new Pokemon, which is a really good choice. And now everybody looking back at Gen 5 now, you barely see any Gen 5 hate online, and it's looked at as a sort of like golden period, even though back then people hated it. Obviously, Sword and Shield had its flaws. There's no questioning that Sword and Shield has its flaws. Every game has its flaws, but I feel like the Pokemon community just go that extra mile to criticize everything that Game Freak do, and not even Game Freak, like just everything about Pokemon in general. Something Master can tweet something, and everybody will just go and like hit him with backlash for no reason. Like he could just retweet some nice art or some nice room design that someone's done. I saw that as an example actually, but somebody literally just made their room electric. They filled it with electric Pokemon plushies and stuff. Master retweeted it, and that person then got filled with replies asking where the national dex was, because Master retweeted it. It's got to a point where this is happening, and it's just disgusting. It's disgusting to call yourself a part of this community. So, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, they were released. Now, I'm a Sinnoh boy. I played Sinnoh first. Sinnoh were my games. I love Sinnoh. And I also love Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. They need some work, obviously, but they have a whole, like, 7 months at least worth of development in them. I love the little chibi graphics. They've grown on me so much. I'll put my reaction here. They've grown on me so much since I first saw them, because I was initially, like, really confused. Because obviously they're not what we expected. We expected big Sword and Shield Gen 8 graphics for the Gen 4 remakes. But now that I have seen them over the past like half a week, they've really grown on me, and they look really nice. They do need work, the little chibi graphics need work, but overall, like the world and the environment and everything looks really nice. The shadows and the shading and everything. People complain about the lack of shadows. I don't know why, but they always seem to bring up the picture of Floroma Town when they're talking about the lack of shadows, rather than Valley Windworks. Probably because it explains their point better. But in general, BDSP is looking to be a very nice game, especially over the next 7 months when they keep developing it. And as for Legends Arceus, I honestly think that's going to be a masterpiece of a game. Maybe not necessarily a masterpiece, but it's definitely going to be better than it shows off at the moment. Now, people are complaining about a Chingling moving at 5 frames per second. I don't know why. It's got a whole year of development left in it. It's so petty. It is incredibly petty, and obviously the textures are going to be prototype. Obviously the animations are going to be prototype. It's not even that the game can't handle them yet. It's I can't say for sure, but it's most likely that they just haven't finished keyframing the animations yet. It's clear that there's some new animations, like you saw the Riolu quick attacking the quick attack, the Rhydon or Rhyhorn or whatever it was. Like, it's obvious that the game is going to be unfinished. They most likely just rushed it out for Pokemon Day, rushed out a trailer, rushed out a recording of it for Pokemon Day, so that they could promote the game, get more hype for it. Like, why wouldn't you? It's Pokemon Day. You want to show off your big new Game Freak project, the main project for the year. Obviously, it's going to be unfinished. Obviously, textures are going to be like muddy or low quality or whatever. Obviously, you can criticize it, but there's no point in acting like that's the finished game, because I've seen so many people do that. They act like they know the entire game when they've literally seen 2 minutes of footage. 2 minutes of unfinished footage from an unfinished game that has almost a year of development left in it. And that goes the same for Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. I can't put it into words, honestly. I also wanted to say, because obviously Sword and Shield got backlash. Sorry, I'm saying obviously way too much. Obviously Sword and Shield got backlash for being, like, it was mediocre. I liked playing it. It was a very fun game and the music was great, but it did feel rushed and maybe not as much effort put into it. Probably because it was rushed. I don't know, it was a fun game to play, like, after a day of school or whatever. Just get home, sit on the Switch, play some Sword and Shield. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. I haven't finished the DLC yet, but the DLC is really fun. Like, there's a whole thing that happens. The general gist is that fans think that Game Freak don't listen to them, but in reality, they do. They do nothing but listen to the fans. It's just that the fans are never satisfied. Like, you've got Gen 5. After the complaints about Sinnoh, I'm going to start around here because I haven't looked into much about the past generations. I think it was pretty good back then. But people complained that Sinnoh was too slow. And it was. Diamond and Pearl were really slow games. Platinum fixed it a little bit, but it was still very slow. So Gen 5 was faster paced. There were new Pokemon everywhere because I'm pretty sure people complain about the lack of Pokemon in Sinnoh. And there was a good story in Sinnoh as well. But the fans said they hated the fact that there was deep story and wanted to play the game. And they also hated the fact that they couldn't use their favourite Pokemon from during the story from the last games. Fans, man, fans. So, in Gen 6, they made less depth, a shorter game, and weird pacing. But the fans said the game had bad pacing, they hated Megas, and the game was too short. Gen 7 comes. We got a longer game, more indulgent story, and better structured pacing with Trials. They put a new thing out, and the fans said they hated Trials and didn't care about the story. So, with Gen 8, we got barely any story, and a rushed game. Oh man, it's mind-boggling that the fans just don't realise the Game Freak do nothing but listen to them, yet they're still not satisfied. So then with BDSP, you got a new art style, new chibi art style. They've never done anything like this before. They've never downgraded, except I guess you can probably count Let's Go, but it wasn't really a downgrade. The point of actually, whilst I'm on the topic of BDSP, let me just talk about this. With people comparing BDSP to Oras. Now, Oras was XY graphics. Oras is the equivalent of what the Gen 8 style Diamond and Pearl would be. You can't compare Oras chibi to BDSP chibi, because BDSP chibi is the style of Diamond and Pearl chibi, but Oras chibi is the style of X and Y chibi. You can't compare the two because they're two very different graphics. Just imagine that the chibi all along was that little Diamond and Pearl BDSP chibi. There probably wouldn't have been any complaints. I know the little chibi models, they probably need like shorter arms and they need to look a little bit less like toys, but generally they look alright. And like I said, you can't compare them because they're completely different styles. Oras is X and Y chibi, and BDSP is Diamond and Pearl chibi. It's a very good creative decision, in my opinion, and I'm 100% down for it. As a Diamond and Pearl player, it's incredibly nostalgic, and it doesn't necessarily fit the original style perfectly, but they've done a good job in trying to recreate it, and I think with a couple more touches can definitely fix it up. So yeah, about BDSP on my gen list. So we've got a new art style. It fits both new players and players of the original games, because new players, like little kids who are getting into Pokemon, the little toy looking people, chibi characters, will appeal to them, and it won't look as intimidating as the big characters of Sword and Shield. Like, I'm pretty sure Let's Go is, I think it's like the fourth best selling game on Switch. Yeah, so it fits the new players, like the little kids, and it also fits players who want the nostalgia that they got from playing the original games, which was definitely what they were going for. And the fans said, why is it not in full Sword and Shield graphics? Well, again, it was a creative approach. Obviously, Sword and Shield graphics are superior, but it doesn't make chibi bad. Chibi can be done well, and I think they can nail the chibi. And also what I've seen is because Ilka's making it, people are like, oh, Game Freak has to outsource. What are they doing? It's because they're working on Legends. I've seen tons of people saying, like, why are Game Freak outsourcing if they, like, ruin their own franchise that much? No! It's because Legends is a risky approach, and they want to make sure that sells, and that's a good game. So they've got someone else to work on the Diamond and Pearl remakes in a bit of a different style, because if they did do it in the same style as Sword and Shield, they couldn't get Ilka to do it, because Ilka doesn't have that same style. That's as simple as that. And with Legends Arceus, I'm surprised that I've seen any criticism at all, because it's an unfinished game, unfinished footage, and it's got a year of development left. It's Breath of the Wild-esque. I'm not going to compare it to Breath of the Wild, because I've seen that happen way too much. Every open world game, apparently, to anybody is just either Breath of the Wild or Skyrim. But the fans they just focus on the little bits, like the Chingling moving up 5 frames. Okay, it's unfinished. And also the textures. Okay, it's unfinished. There's nothing more to be said. So my point is, every generation, every game even, it changes from the feedback that the previous game or generation gets. Like you see, like I said, Gen 4 was slow, Gen 5 was fast. It's as simple as that. But the fans are so blind that all they see is them not getting what they want. Even though they are getting what they want, they just can't be pleased. Okay, I think I've talked enough. That's gonna wrap up today's video. It's a bit of a different one, and it's fun to just get my feelings out without having to write a script. I've literally just written a few notes up here, and that's it. So it's good to just rant without the restrictions of a script. So let me know if you enjoyed this. I'll definitely do more of this if you like it, because ranting is pretty fun, and there's a lot to rant about the Pokemon community. This is just one of my points, and I didn't realize that it was going to be an 18-minute video, 18-minute recording. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. If you did enjoy, give it like a kick in the head. My eye's hurting. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.